Y'all don't know how Turnitin works in a show, so let's talk about how Turnitin actually works. If you're new here, hi, I'm Tim. I'm a social work student, but I used to be a teacher in a former life. I taught at York University, Conestoga College, and Fanshawe College. I've used Turnitin for assignments, both for AI and not. Let's talk about it. First things first. Turnitin does not detect plagiarism. Turnitin does not detect AI use. Turnitin gives you a score of how comparable your document is to other things it found on the internet and has been submitted to Turnitin. Likewise, it is a probability of what has been written by AI based on what Turnitin thinks AI writes and how AI writes. That's it. That's the premise. I used to tell my students, Turnitin doesn't detect plagiarism or AI use. I do. Your instructor does. Turnitin even says that their information is supposed to be combined with other sources of information and instructors' discretion in detecting cheating, plagiarism, AI use. So, for example, in this one course I taught, I told my students that I expected a Turnitin score of, are you ready for this? 75 to 80%. And I always let my students see their Turnitin score, and I told them, if you see 75 to 80%, don't panic on this one assignment. I am expecting that, because it was a heavy outline and they just kind of plugged in their own stuff. Now, there were other assignments where I'd say, I'm expecting a Turnitin score of under 10%. There's other assignments where we would expect different numbers. This is because Turnitin even says instructors are to use their discretion and other sources of information to detect plagiarism and cheating. So when people say like, oh, Turnitin said that my assignment was 60% plagiarized. No, it said it is trying to say that 60% of your document has similar elements to other things on the internet or submitted through Turnitin. Likewise, when you see it has highlighted like just the word the or part of your name, that doesn't mean that you've plagiarized that. It just says, hey, this looks similar to something else that we've seen on the internet or on a database. And then all of this to say, and I do want to say this as both instructor and student, if your instructor just says, hey, I think you plagiarized because of this Turnitin score, they're being a frankly shitty instructor. Call them out and say, no, use your discretion and let's actually work through it, because the score alone is not enough, because Turnitin does not detect plagiarism, instructors do.